All right, my friends, Todd Falcone here. Welcome back to another episode here. Excited to chat with a good friend of mine who I don't even, we're gonna have to just dig into it. So I kind of think he like needs no introduction to some extent because if you're on social media, you know who John Melton is. John and Nadia are two absolute legends in the network marketing space, and they absolutely crush it on social media. So I'd be kind of surprised if you're in network marketing and you haven't seen the slightly energetic John Melton. So, John, what's up? Good morning, man. How you doing?
Brother. Excited to be here. Living the dream. Fired up. Woo.
I know you are, man. Where do you get all your energy, bro? You're so like you're always just
You
high
know, it's
energy,
interesting.
not high.
When I first got involved in network marketing, of course, I had a lot of energy. It was like raw, enthusiasm. And I remember not a lot in the first company, but definitely the second company. Years later, people would say, "Oh, you talk too fast." Like not a lot of people, but some people would say that. So I would try to like slow it down and try to like be more, slow talking, explaining thing. And then I realized I hate that. And I'm just going to talk fast and I'm going to attract who I'm going to attract. And the slow talkers can attract those people, but those are not my people. The people I freak out and overwhelm, those aren't my people. So I'm glad I figured
Dude,
that out because that was before I got on social. So when I came on social, I brought the energy just like I would in meetings and it worked out for me. But of course, I'm sure there's some people like that guy's too much, but those just aren't my people.
yeah. Dude, you just made me uncomfortable, man. Like when you slow down like that, I'm like, who is that guy? Like, this is John Melton. I'm here with Todd. I'm like,
It
don't
is
do that
funny
again.
though. You have to admit some of the best like podcasters and like influencers out there, they're not like super energetic. They're real calculated with what they say and people listen to them and they have a lot of great information, but I'm like, yeah, it's not my style. But if it is your style, that's cool too. You just got to figure out like what's your thing as far as where it comes from. I really don't know. It's just like I think I've always been like that. I've always been high energy and probably why I got in a lot of trouble in school and why I did a lot of drinking and drugs and fights and did all the things because I was just easily bored. So I think I just always had a lot of energy, and of course caffeine. Right, I drink like 2-3 cups of coffee in the morning. But
Cheers,
outside of
bro.
yeah, you know the deal.
This is
Cheers.
my 35-year-old Eddie Bauer coffee cup that I've had for literally 35 years, and if I lose it, I'll have to go to therapy. So,
You're serious? 35 years?
dude, 35 years I've had this cup. No joke.
That's crazy.
Beginning, I think I got it right before I met Carla. So, I mean, it's insane, man.
Dude,
I'm
that's
serious. If I
not.
lose it, I'm going to therapy.
That's amazing. That is
Yeah,
amazing. To not
I've
lose it.
gone.
Have you ever
I
lost it temporarily and you kind of were like,
No, no,
oh,
never lost it. I've dropped it a ton of times, but I've gone through other cups that look cool. But this thing just keeps coffee warm and it's got a good seal on it and is never broken. Doesn't have a handle to crack off, and it's made out of, I don't know, some kind of metal.
I feel like they
But
don't
yeah,
make products like that anymore.
no, no, not even close. So I love it. And the only thing that's ever been it is coffee or tea. So
Built to
um,
last, just like Todd Falcone. I love it.
there you go, baby. There you go. So let's talk, man. So first of
Yeah.
all, just in case the people that, I'm sure there's some people like don't know, and if you don't know, you're just I don't know where you're at, but so first of all, John and I met like I don't even know, like maybe 17 years ago or something like that when didn't we meet you? Did I meet you in the Vima days, I think so. I'm pretty sure.
Probably in Vima. I got started in Vima in 2013. So if I met you then, it was what, 11 years ago.
Okay. I thought I met you maybe before that then,
I don't
but
think I
so
did. I Because I didn't really like when I was in ACN, I didn't really follow anyone. Like I didn't even know who Eric Worre was. We weren't like allowed to really. I remember I watched. That's not true. I watched. I listened to Danny Johnson CDs, and then I went to
yeah.
her event. That was like the only generic training. I did actually watch a bajillion times Brilliant Compensation by Tim Sales in my
Oh
first
yeah.
ML track because we would bring people to the boardroom and instead of showing them our comp plan, or maybe we did show, it was so long ago, but we would always play that video over and over and over. And it was just such a compelling video by Tim Sales. But like outside of like, maybe Tim Sales, maybe Danny Johnson, like I didn't really know anyone outside of my company that I was in because there were so many events and so many top speakers and leaders. And that's just who you listen to, right? We didn't have social media back then, so I didn't really know anybody. It wasn't until VEMA that I started meeting people like you and all these other legends and all the like, just going to like GoPro and these other generic events, Ray Higdon joining his mastermind, meeting so many other people. Like it really opened my eyes to how big the profession was. But before that, I had no idea who anyone was.
Not weird, man. Like when I started in NSA, I was under Bill Gould, and like we didn't even go to NSA events, man. Like we didn't
Really?
go to any, no, we weren't. It's not like we weren't allowed. We just had a superior training system with AMS, Advanced Marketing Seminars,
Wow.
and we never ever went to a corporate event. And there was plenty of events. I mean, Basic Building Blocks, Advanced, Perpetual Money Machine, Journey Beyond Perception, all those things back in the day. So did you start, what year did you start and what company did you start with?
Trek Alliance. So that was a spinoff of Equinox.
Oh, I know. Tiffany, Rich, Edwina,
Yep.
and Calais. Yeah,
There you
I know
go.
that deal. Yeah,
TREK. There you go. Yep. And
that's
it's funny,
right. So how did you?
I forgot what the E stood for. But Clay was like my favorite. Actually, Rich was really good too, but Clay was because he was high energy. He was like real
Yeah,
hyper and like, yeah, he was awesome.
yeah. I saw Clay about 8 years ago at one of Eric's events. I
Isn't
hadn't
it
seen him for
crazy?
years.
Some of those guys like, the Bill Goulds and some of those guys like just absolute legends. And they're also infamous for other things, but it's crazy how some of them are not in the profession anymore. I mean, some of them are, but like Rich, no. Clay, maybe Clay is, I don't know. I don't think he is,
No,
but
he's indirectly related or indirectly in the business. I mean, but not. I don't think he's definitely not in the business. So
crazy.
did you get? How'd you get? Was it a warm market introduction, or did you respond to
Yeah,
an ad?
that was War Market. One of my friends, he hated me in high school, tried to jump me a couple times, but years later when he was in MLM, he wants to be nice to me, and everybody wanted to be. Yeah, you're like all of a sudden you're like, I'm an MLM, I love everybody. But he picked me up, brought me to the first meeting. It was actually funny. I was out back smoking a cigarette back in my cigarette smoking days, and I was talking about how much I hate school and I hate my job. Right, waiting table sucks. I don't know what I want to do. I just want to get rich. And his girlfriend, Mike Callahan's girlfriend, Kat, who also was smoking with me, she's like, "You should talk to my boyfriend." I was like, "Nah, your boyfriend does not like me." Da 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 da. And she's like, "No, he's cool. He doesn't care anymore." I was like, "Okay." And so he picked me up to go to this meeting. I still remember his truck parked out in the driveway because I was so like, "Is this guy going to try to beat me up?" Like, I don't know. He might try to kill me, or he might bring me to a meeting. And he brought me to a meeting, luckily. And I was a total red apple. Like, there was no skepticism. I was like, this is amazing. Like, hook, line, and sinker. Take my money. Let's go. $50. Oh, I don't have $50, but I'll get $50 for my starter kit. So then eventually I got my $50, and then I went to an EP educational program, and then they broke down the whole deal of how like you need to buy a bib, and you should really buy two bibs, a business in a box, $2,000 a piece. And I'm like, yeah, I don't have any money. My parents don't have any money, so they tried to help me get a loan. And then I found out that when I was 18, I had a credit card, and I was living at the beach, and I just didn't make any payments because nobody told me about credit cards. I don't know, it was a big deal. I didn't pay my $20 minimum payment, so I had bad credit somehow. The little credit I had, so I couldn't get the bibs. But I ended up selling a lot of bibs over the course of 2 years. So all things considered, they typically say you got to, lead by example and people will do what you do. Well, I didn't do that, but I was able to get other people to do it. So go figure. But yeah, that was my introduction to network marketing. And then Trek got shut down by the FTC with Bill Gould's help. And I kind of sort of joined New Vision following my upline, which eventually became VEMA. I just wasn't feeling it. And I still remember there was a guy that was using the internet to generate leads. And I remember being like, the internet, that's so boring. That's for old people.
Oh my God.
Go
The
figure.
internet's for old people. Yeah, now they say Facebook is for old people.
Yeah, exactly. The irony.
That's funny, man. So you were in Trek for a bit, and then they got shut down. Did you get into? Were you in New Vision when they were doing the Dead Doctors tape and the
Yeah.
colloidals?
I think it
Yeah.
was kind of towards the end of that because they did transition into VEMA around the time we're in. But I don't know. I think I was crushed. It's like your first like love, right? You like fall in love, and then it crushes you when that ends, right? I think all of us
Yeah.
probably have a story like that's how it was with Trek. Like when Trek got shut down, I was like not the same after that. I was like, dude, everybody was right. It was a pyramid scam. Like it, not a scheme. We said pyramid scam, like straight up. And it was, dude. I mean, it like looking back, you're like, oh God, yeah, that is all we did to produce volume is just get people to buy kits, bibs, products. Like there was no customers. Towards the end, we started doing product parties and we'd have people send their kit to the office so we could break it up and put a little sample bottle so they couldn't return it. That's terrible. The labels on the shit. And then it's like, all right, throw away those bottles, get rid of them. Like now we got little sample bottles and you hand those out. And it was all recruiting. It was a giant scheme. But, you know, the bottom line is after that was shut down, I was kind of like, I don't know, dude, I don't really want to do this stuff. It's all fake. Like New Vision seemed cool, but I was just like, again, I was so just sad and disappointed and just like, you know, I just felt like I put so much into Trek. Like this is just, I'm not going to do this again and have it happen again. And shortly after that, my dad dies of a heart attack. I was living in Denver because so they shut down the offices. We used to use offices. So they shut them all down the East Coast. So we went all the way to Colorado to work with Michelle Barnes at her office. And then they shut that one down. So we're just like waiting tables, not really doing anything, sleeping in every day to like noon, drinking, partying. My dad dies. So that was obviously devastating. Then Nadia gets pregnant with Dylan, who turns 20 next week, which is so crazy. Wow. So she gets pregnant and I'm like, all right, we got to get a real job. So I try getting real jobs, Todd, and no one will hire me. Go figure, right? Like I don't have a college degree. And I remember going into this like boiler room, like just sausage fest. It's like all these dudes and they hire Nadia to be a mortgage broker at like AmeriQuest or something. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I trust Nadia, but hell no. Like she's not going to work there. And they won't even hire me. So then I call my buddy Tom, who I remember. So this is a funny story, and I know I'm being long-winded, but there was this woman who had her resume online. Remember, we did resumes. She had a resume online, and she put on her resume, dude, she put night shift. That was a strip club. Okay. So I'm like, all right, this is just fascinating. I have to invite this person to the meeting because I'm just curious, who would be a stripper and then put that on their resume? Like, what? Like, you don't put that on your resume? So she comes out, and she, of course, looks just like what you would think she looks like. But she was like really excited. And she brought her boyfriend, Tom, who was driving an Escalade. And Tom dropped out of an Ivy League school to be a mortgage broker. I don't know what a mortgage is, but I'm like, Tom told me he thought I would be good at mortgages. So I call him up. I'm like, I'm thinking about moving back home. Could you get me a job? He's like, absolutely, dude. And he's like the #1 loan officer there. So I go there, I get a job, move back home, right, with Nadia, move into my mom's, right? My dad's obviously, you know, passed away. Nadia and I are living in my bedroom, basically. She's pregnant. And dude, my first month, I made 10 grand, right? Like, and then Tom goes and starts his own company. He's like, you want to come with me? I'm like, no, bro. Like, I need stability. I'm having a kid. Like, good luck with the new company. I'm going to stay here. I made 125,000 my first year, rookie of the year. Took everything I learned in network marketing and did the mortgage thing. And dude, it was like taking candy from a baby. I mean, it was all over the phone. It was so easy for me compared to what we did in MLM. So then, you know, obviously we went on to like, you know, make a bunch of money, started having some success. And then, you know, we buy our own place and kind of like, you know, that whole thing. But then of course I bought at the peak of the market. So I bought high, sold low, ruined my, my credit and, kind of like got a little sour taste in my mouth with the whole mortgage thing because the rates went up and it became a lot freaking harder. So I'm like, dude, yeah, like I don't love MLM. Like, man, I really want to like find something. And then my buddy Mike, who got me into the first company, who I introduced to Tom, he went to that new company. So Mike joins ACN and like, I'm like, nah, dude, I'm not doing that. I have zero interest in that. Like, I just, you know, like I kind of was open, but not really. And then he's like, I signed up Tom. And I'm like, wait a second, you signed up Tom? Bro, if you signed up Tom, I introduced you to Tom. You need to put Tom under me. So I leverage myself in. He puts Tom under me. And of course, Tom does nothing, right? Does a little teeny bit, nothing really. But that's how I got back into network marketing. And I've been in network marketing ever since then. Crazy.
And how long did you hang in ACN?
7 years, 2 years part-time.
Wow.
Went full-time in 2008 when the rates went up. Plus, I also quit drinking because one of my really good friends from high school committed suicide. And him and I always talked about we should quit drinking because both of us had the same kind of like personality. Like just that's where we make all our bad decisions. You can imagine I'm hyper and like a little crazy. Like imagine me, you know, blackout wasted at 3 a.m. I mean, it's just like horrible things that would happen. So lots of trouble. But, you know, when he took his life, I was like, you know what? I'm going to make his death matter, and I'm going to quit drinking. Just like when my dad died of a heart attack, I quit smoking. So anyway, long story short, that was when I got serious. That's when I started recruiting A players. I went all in with my business, made 6 figures for the first time in my network marketing career in 2008. And then I left in 2013 because basically I hit the second highest rank in the company, and thousands of people joined my team, and literally nobody was even making $1,000 a month. So for me, I just felt like not the, and I'm sure they've improved since then. I have no idea, but for me, I just felt like I can't build this with like confidence and honesty at this point. And that's when I left, because I was burnt out on home meetings, and I had that MLM PTSD I always talk about. And that was when I was like, dude, I got to build online. And then I joined Vima, because Vima had this guy, I'm not going to say his name, but he had left Herbalife and came to Vima, and he had an online system. And I was like, that's what
I know who you're talking about. Yeah. So real quick, so '08, so you have this big year in '08, and we all know it was happening in 2008. That's when the market crashed. I mean, the global market crash happened. So I don't know about you, but like I didn't feel it like as a network marketer. I mean, I was training full time then, but I didn't. It was like we got through the recession, then I was like, what was there a recession? Like I mean, I don't
Our
want
business
to make.
exploded. I mean, that was when we were on
Yeah.
the Donald Trump. I mean, that was actually like, I think that's why our business exploded, because so many people that were used to making money were making less. So it kind of worked out. And I think that's kind of what's going on now. If people really like open their eyes and realize that, like, yeah, the economy is in shambles for the first time, probably in 14 years, whatever it's been. I don't know, 2008 to 2010. That was kind of like a 2-year, 3-year stint. So it's kind of an interesting time, because we haven't really had a bad economy in like 14 to 16 years. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I mean, it is different now than it was then. I mean, back then there was a real estate market crashing, but that could happen again. Who knows what's going to happen, right? But it's definitely, when there's all this like chaos and there actually COVID was kind of like this too, which is interesting now that I think about it. COVID, there was a lot of uncertainty, a lot of chaos, but MLM exploded. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, man. It's very interesting. I feel like we're in uncharted territory, because we got social media, and there's just a lot of noise. There's a lot of distraction. There's a lot of ways to make money online now, and some of them are kind of scammy. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but it definitely did, in a weird way, help us when the market crashed in 2008, and it seemed to help us when COVID hit too.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of companies during COVID, if you were established, you had a base already, they all, most of them went up. And then like I've had to like coach some leaders off of like not the ledge, but I'm like, dude, that was a fake blip. You're not down by 50%. You're back to where you were,
Right.
pre-COVID. Because I mean, they had huge increases for like a 2.5, 3-year period of time. And then all those, well, not all of them, but a majority of those people that came in during COVID, they didn't all stay here. They went back to what they were doing to begin with. And I'm sure some of them stuck around, but
it's such a good point. It's such a good point, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Eric talked about it, and he's like, just look at it like it was a bonus. Like, you got a bonus during COVID. It was a nice little, bump in your income and in your volume. But if you're like fixated on your biggest check ever, and it was during 2020, 21, 22, you're probably gonna be disappointed. You're probably gonna, feel like like, oh, I was making 50, now I'm only making 20. It's like, dude, there are people that would do anything to make 20, right? And we just sometimes lose that perspective. And that happens to me too. I mean, I think it's just human nature, but it really is kind of interesting how COVID was so good, and now it's kind of become so bad, because a lot of people, I think, they relied on like the whole like posting and profiting from it. It's just, now it's like you have to actually like reach out to people and follow up with people, and it's not as easy to convert a sale or even get attention on social. Like, it's hard. Like, dude, even when I do my live videos, like if I did a live video 2, 3, 4 years ago, I'd have 5 times as many people, the same topic, same exact training, for the most part, 5 times as many people watching as I will today. But it's like, so I'm still going to show up. Even if there's 20 people, it's still 20 people watching. And by the way, you can repurpose, there's replays. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation, but it can be discouraging if you allow it to be.
Yeah, no doubt. So I want to talk about like building strategies, because I know like you and Nadia, you guys have just absolutely crushed it with ATM and Facebook groups. And I'm just kind of curious, like how you guys build, like, what do you, like I know that in your current company, you guys have had more success than I'm sure in any of your other previous companies.
Oh, by
You've
far.
had, you've had two companies basically get shut down. You had the truck deal, and then unfortunately, Vima got targeted, which was a super bummer. I mean, I sat in the court case with BK and that whole group that during all that stuff down in Phoenix, just because I was curious to know why they were getting shut down. But so now, and you've been where you are now for what? How many years now? 7, 8?
Well,
Like,
it's 9 years ago this month that BMO was shut down, actually.
okay,
So
all
next
right,
month is 9 years with Modere. And
yeah,
yeah, it was, dude, it was a tough decision too, man, because it was like, do we stay? Because I was like loyal to Vima, right? I was like, I
yeah,
want to stay. But BK's like, dude, I don't even know if we're going to open back up. He's like, reach out to Brian McMullen. I'm like, all right. He's like, Brian McMullen's the only person I know. Is what he said at the time. He said it to me on the phone. He goes, Brian's the only person I know in 20 years. If he says he's going to do something, he does it. So I talked to Brian. I thought Brian was going to take us to Jeunesse. And he's like, no,
yeah.
no, we're not going to do Jeunesse. We're going to do Modere. I'm like, Modere is like a makeup company? I'm like, what the heck? And of course, it wasn't a makeup company. I don't even know if we sell makeup anywhere, maybe in Australia. Like, but that somehow that's what I thought it was. But then I flew out to corporate and I, kind of saw their dual-sided comp plan and the customer centric. I was, again, PTSD was kicking in again. So I'm like, I got to do something that's like the opposite of Vima. And I wouldn't say it's the opposite, but just like a company that's focused on customers, not recruiting and team building in a binary type of thing. Nothing wrong necessarily with binary per se, but I do feel like that was part of the problem is it was very heavy on like two, they get two, power legs and stacking people. And it was all recruiting. And even though they had great products, I think that's what kind of got them in trouble. Plus that there was, a lot of young people making a lot of money and saying, make more than your professor, like, drop out of college. Probably idea.
I
But
mean, I have my thoughts on that. I mean, none of us know the actual thing, but I think there's a bunch of powerful parents that were like, I'm so sick of like, my kid was going to Stanford, my kid was going to Yale, and he goes, Dad, I'm quitting college to go sell energy drinks. And, there's probably a bunch of powerful parents that finally got together and it just, and I mean, you and I both, I mean, BK is a cool dude. I love BK, he's a great guy. And that's just super unfortunate because there were people that were, using the products. It wasn't like people were buying cases of Verve
that's
and
why I went
then
there.
just throwing it in the trash.
Dude, we were taking Vima for years after we quit. So that was one of the reasons I went there. I'm like, I know it's a great product. Then he sold me a case. He sent me a case of Bold and
Oh
I
yeah.
drank it. I was like, dude, this is like the best product I've ever had. At that time, I was like, dude, I'm like, not only can I sell this and will I drink this, but I'm like, I feel like if someone joins, and again, I'm not trying to knock ACN, but it was like $500. You got nothing, right? And I think they've lowered it since then, maybe, but it was $500 just to join. You didn't get anything. Like what I liked about Vima, this was always my mindset. Like if someone pays $500 for a builder pack, they have $500 in products they can use, even if they never like. If you go to the grocery store and you spend $500, you're not like, oh my god, I can't. Like you have $500 in groceries, dude. You're going to use the
Yeah.
product. So to me, it made a lot of sense. But I will say they did not have a lot of real customers. Even if someone was a customer, they were in the database as an affiliate. So I don't know, dude. I mean, it's one of those things where you just look back and you go, okay, mistakes were probably made. And even if it's like, that wasn't really unethical, that shouldn't have been shut down, you can see where there was that gray area that we were kind of, dancing in. And I think that was part of the reason. And I think anytime you target young people or old people, you get either
Yeah.
their old people's kids or college kids, parents. Either way, you get this demographic right here. Like people like you and me right now, our age right now, don't mess with us. You mess with my parents, my mom, I should say at this point, or Nadia's parents, you mess with my kids, like you're going to deal with me. And you're probably not going
Yeah.
to like that. Right. So it does make sense that was part of the deal. But guess what? It all worked out because, like you said, I probably had more success. I probably had one of the strongest runs that anyone in network marketing has had during this 2017-ish to about 2022 run was insane. Last year was the first year where things finally plateaued. And, we experienced some decline. This year has been crazy. I think you probably know some stuff we went through. But you know what? All
Yeah.
of that stuff is I mean, you always have to look at the positive, go, well, yes, change sucks or losing good people sucks, but we also have amazing new people in place. And there's been a lot of amazing enhancements and just some things that if the bad things didn't happen, kind of like when Vimo was shut down, if that bad thing didn't happen, we would have had all these good things since then happen. I mean, obviously it sucks for BK and some of the people that maybe never really got back on track, but if you just stay positive and keep working, keep showing up and keep treating people well and showing up on your social and doing all the things, like you can rebuild anything. I wouldn't want to ever have to start all over. That was a torturous experience, what happened with Vima. But at the end of the day, it all worked out for the best. And, we've had a pretty good run as far as like how we build. I mean, really still the same stuff that we've been teaching for really a decade. Even before I joined Modere, it was like, teaching people how to create curiosity and create conversation, leveraging social. Then having an exposure process, which, we created this ATM system where we add people to a group, tag them in a video. It's not the only thing we do. We do have videos and fact sheets and tools that we use outside of that, but it is still predominantly what people are doing, because you get them in the group and there's like all this excitement in there, and a lot of people are posting and commenting, and there's before and afters and promos and giveaways. So it's nice to get people in the group and have a place to like capture the leads, to like continue to drip on them, if you will, because you could be a little more aggressive in the groups. Like, I don't want to have my wall just plastered. Like, if you go to my page right now, you're going to go, I don't know what company he's in, or even if he's in a company. But when you're like in my groups, it's very obvious. These are Modere specific groups from people interested in products or opportunity. So you got creating curiosity, creating conversation. You got ATM. And then, of course, we do group chats on Facebook Messenger. That's like I think it's probably the biggest reason we've had so much success building online. And people skip that a lot. They're just like, oh, I sent the video. But then it's like the person's doing all the follow-ups by themselves, right? The three-way call was always powerful because you're introducing your prospect to an expert, right? A third-party tool is great, but really the third-party tool, the best third-party tool is the upline. So we do these chats all day where it's me, my prospect, and then I put 4 other people in there. Could be 2 people from my downline, a couple people from my upline. Like Tony Zalecki and Michelle Barnes are my upline, you know them. They're in every chat I do, and then I'll grab a couple other people on my team. I throw them in the chat. So it's these 4 people and me and my prospect, and they all share their story. My prospect's blown away, and we've duplicated that within my entire organization all over the world. So it's a very easy way for someone to hear from an expert without having to schedule a call or a Zoom.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of questions running in my head right now that I want to ask you. So first of all, I want to go back to something, because you know how it is. People come in the business, and they either, I mean, you've had deals where like companies have been shut down. Like in 2 cases, you had companies shut down. So, in a lot of cases, I mean, that's not always happening, but there's companies that do shut down. But you've had experiences where, oh my gosh, I have to go start all over again. So, I'm just from your perspective, but also thinking about the viewer, the listener. They're frustrated, things aren't working, the company's making stupid decisions. Let's say the company's not even going out of business or something, and they're, it's like, oh, do I still have it? Like you even, I mean, you mentioned a couple times PTSD. Do I want to go do this again? Like I'm because you already had success. I'm sure you're like it's like you have a taste of success, or even a really good taste of success. So it's like, I just don't understand how somebody gets involved in network marketing and even gets to like 5 G's a month or something, or even $3,000 a month in residual income, and it goes away, and how they wouldn't want to get that back. So like, what?
In my opinion, the reason is they worked so hard to build something, and they put so much into it, and they were so sold out, bathing in the Kool-Aid, I always say. And it is, dude, it does suck when I don't think it's the business model as much as the personal side of it. That shit, I mean, it's painful when like people you thought were your friends, not only do they go join something else and kind of, or the whole thing falls apart. Maybe they don't even join something else, but they all kind of like just the quiet quitting, right? They just kind of like start backing away slowly but surely. Your check goes down, your volume goes down, your business kind of implodes, and then some of those people go off somewhere else, and they start cross recruiting and bashing you, and you're like, dude, I don't even want. I'm not interested. I'm done. I'm gonna go get a real job and normal. I'm gonna go back to corporate America, go start my own thing. Where you see people building their own brand, right? They just like, I'm just going to monetize my social media, and I don't want to be a part of that anymore. And it sucks because, like, look what Rodan and Fields just did. Like, dude, like, thanks guys. Thanks. Super. Now, all of us have to deal with people thinking, oh, all MLMs are going to do this. Now, we know that's not true, but do we really know that every company's not going to do that? No, there's probably more companies that will do that dumbass decision. And I think they would have been better off going out of business or going bankrupt or let someone else buy them out than to do that, because now they just ruined their entire database of anybody decent, right? Anybody that's like, well, I'm actually making more money. Like, you're a loser. Like, if you're going to still promote a company that would do that to the people that introduced you, mentored you, and cared about you, I mean, I'm sorry. That's just, it's pathetic. It's disgusting, despicable. Anyway, I don't know if you're going to cut this out of the podcast, but I
No,
hate it.
I ain't cutting anything out of this, bro.
Good,
I
good,
mean,
good. Because it
like this
pisses
is
me off because now I have to deal with people thinking that MLM's going to do that or Moder's going to do this or all companies going to do this. Like, dude, no. Like, first of all, here's what's funny. My top sellers, and dude, I will put my sellers, my top promoters up against any top promoters of any other MLMs. Like I have people on my team that do 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, some months, 80 or 90,000 in sales in a month. I'm sure there's other people that do it, but like my top 50, like just to get my top 50, you got to sell $7,000 in personal products. Like it's not recruiting. This is all sales. It's stupid. But the point is, guess who are my top recruiters? Same people. Same people. The top recruiters and team builders are the same people for the most part that are the top sellers. So you change the comp plan in these companies, right? Like Rodan Fields, I don't know if it's the case, but in my organization, if you said, hey, we're just going to pay you in your customers, they would all be like, we already make a fortune on our customers. We already make 36% on our customers. That you paying us 50%, 60%. No. Like my team is why I'm here. The team I'm building, the recruit. So that's why I know my company would never do it. And I think I would say 99% of the companies are never going to do that because they're not dumb. They realize like that is our business. It's these distributors that have brought us the business, that are leading the teams, that have created what we have today. It was created by those people, not by the people that are selling 5 products a month or getting 6 customers a month. Like that's not who we're trying to appeal to. So I think they basically were running out of money and made a god awful decision. And now they made the rest of us look bad because now people, the haters out there are like, this is what all MLMs are going to do. No, they're not. But there probably are going to be some more companies that do it. And any of them that do it, in my opinion, they're literally, I mean, should they be put to jail? No. But it is a crime, in my opinion, to just say, hey, we know you brought us all these people the last decade. We know that like you're the reason all these people are here. Even if these people go, well, I don't even like my upline. I don't want, but you're still here because of them. Without you, you're not in this company. Or maybe you are, but you're still. Someone recruited those people. So the fact that none of them get paid, it's just like what Advocare did, like highway robbery. Now, what's interesting
is it's happening. I mean, Bella Grace just did it. So, I mean, I have friends of mine that are over there that were making.
Oh, whoa. Bella Grace, are you sure?
Yeah. So they basically changed
the collagen company, or am I confusing them?
No, that's not. I'm pretty confident it's more skincare. I mean, I was literally having this conversation yesterday.
Okay,
imagine going from 100,000 a month down to, let's just call it 15,000, and you're going to stick around. Like I just don't. I mean, this is one of those conversations like you and I were having the other day. We're like, oh man, if we actually, just we're unfiltered, because we got to be a little bit careful what we do here, just because it's a totally open audience, but. But not. So I think let's just say this for those of you that are newer here, we're not trying to just put fears inside of you, like, oh my God, my network marketing company is going to take the comp plan away. Why do they do it? Probably financial reasons.
Yeah.
I was quite surprised when Rodan and Fields did it, because I know a lot of people were impacted that built there for over a decade. I mean, building big teams for over a decade. And to have the company, it's one thing to have the company go out of business or have the FTC come in or something like that, but to just strip the compensation plan out, it's like a slap in the face. All those people, like every rep in that company is the reason that company exists, in terms of all the people that are there buying the products and everything. And then just to say, no, we're not going to pay you we'll pay you on level 1, but not, level 2 through whatever. So,
right. I don't even think they get paid on level 1. I think they literally only get paid on their personal sales.
That's insane. That's crazy.
The dumbest thing I've ever heard. But anyway, again, probably not going to happen to most companies. But, those companies that are going broke, or those companies that maybe, like I heard Saint Makeup was always kind of an influencer type of model. It wasn't really, like Bob Heilig worked with a lot of those people. So he was like, I kind of had insider information. And he's like, they never really liked, like the companies never really liked MLM. They kind of like didn't recognize leaders. They always kind of like didn't even want to be associated with MLM. So he's like, that's part of the reason why these companies did it. They were never really all in on MLM anyway. So, if you're in an organization or a company where it's like they're a very established MLM, the chances of it happening, I mean, it's as likely as what happened to Kayani, which, was also a tragedy where the owners were in a plane crash. I mean, like,
Yeah.
Things can happen, but this is also why you have to be smart with your money. You start making it, you better be smart about it. You better not just spend it like it's going to keep coming in forever at the same amount. Like, it's a business. Business fluctuates. I mean, look at how many people are getting laid off by like the biggest companies in the world are making massive layoffs because of the economy. Like, people can lose a job, people can lose a business, things happen. That's why you got to be smart with your money. You got to be diversified. You never want to spend everything you're making, right? I think these are lessons to be learned because, kind of like the COVID thing, right? It's like those people that were spending that money as if it was just going to come in forever. I mean, they should have known better, but sometimes you have to learn the hard way, as we know in life.
Yeah, and networkers are notorious for overspending, man. I don't know what it is, like it's so funny because when a lot of look, you get oh yeah, network marketing doesn't work, or that's all the crap that people say, and then when you start making money, it's like I got to prove that it does work. So I'm like, I remember the first thing I bought was an 18-karat Rolex President, so I could flash that thing around, yeah,
And Todd, how
just,
many people did you recruit because of that?
I recruited a bunch because of that. I'm sure.
You actually did? Wow. Because when I bought
because I'm like in flip flops and a tie dye T-shirt, and they're like, "Well, what the hell? How do you I don't wear I don't even wear suits."
That was a good investment then. That actually was a good.
That was a good investment. Plus,
there were things
I bought it well.
where I'm like, yeah, that didn't. I don't feel like I had anybody like, hey, I want to join your team because you have a Maserati, or I want to join. You know what people actually are attracted to nowadays? It's like, wow, like I want to own investment properties or beach houses like you guys do that you've turned into these like Airbnbs, like cash flow. Like people get excited about that. Those posts get more engagement than anything else I post versus the flashy, like, oh, I got a Gucci shirt. Like it almost in some ways has become a turnoff for people because it's kind of like you're trying to flex, which there's nothing wrong with that, right? You should be able to buy things you look nice because, you can't sell the dream looking like a nightmare, as Nadia always says, except in a Russian accent. But there is something to be said about investing your money, right? And buying things that actually are assets versus liabilities.
Well, I mean, there's a great book that I read a long time ago, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, and The Richest Man in Babylon. Like those are two great little books. Like The Richest Man in Babylon should be required reading for every networker. It's a tiny little book. But I mean, the bottom line is pay yourself first. People are out there buying crap and that they can't afford, and it's just dumb. So let's transition. I want to talk about building. Okay, so you guys obviously have crushed it building wise. You do a lot of stuff online. Like, what is the process without you, I mean, sharing the insider secrets of what you do? Like, if you were going to recruit me, for example, and let's say I'm not Todd Falcone, I'm just the dude Todd that what's the process? How am I finding out about you? Am I finding out from a curiosity post on Facebook? Are you picking up the phone and calling me? Like, what process are your people?
I don't call anybody in that way. Like, I will schedule a time to hop on a call with a prospect, especially because if I'm recruiting you, I do want to get to know you. I do want you to get to know me, and I want to build a rapport and map out a plan. But I don't just call people. No, I mean, a lot of it comes from me reaching out. Could be me wishing a happy birthday, or someone reaches out and asks a question. Like I signed up 3 people this week. So I'll just tell you, one person I met at an event, attraction marketing event. I went there and, actually this woman came up to the bar after the event was over, and Nadia and I were sitting there. We got to talking. She's not happy with her company. She's been looking at some different opportunities, trying different products. One thing led to another. I added her to the groups, tagged her in some stuff, put her in a group chat, all the things I just shared. Hopped on a call. She ordered some product, loved the products. And then, she ended up buying an ultimate kit, which is like a $700 kit the other day. And then I signed up 2 people yesterday. One lady's been following me for 7 years. Her company is, all these mistakes have happened. Her upline leveraged her whole team in to sign up someone above her. It pissed her off. Her check went from $10,000 a month years ago. It's down to $1,000 a month. So she's like, I want to join you. I don't even care what company you're in. She was in Easy. That was not normal. It's not like that happens all the time, but it does happen, right? You build relationships and you're a good human. And then the other guy I've known for 20 years, and we've been talking for months. And he finally joined. And I say finally because he kept saying, like, I'm going to go online and join. I'm going to go online. And he finally joined yesterday, but he didn't buy a kit, of course. So now he's like, oh, I got to log in and buy the kit. I'm like, of course you do. But at the end of the day, like that's, mostly how it happens, right? It's just building the relationship, staying in touch, leading by example, putting out content, staying in touch with your best people, getting customers, finding different ways to put out fishing poles into the universe, whether it's online or offline. But, that's really what I've done over the years. And I think it's a very simple formula to, again, consistently show up on social, consistently stay in touch with people. And of course, you're going to find people that are either, curious about your products or they're curious about your company. And, you're just filling the pipeline. And if I put 20 people in my ATM groups and there's, 20 people I'm working on, I'm working on them, I'm probably going to sign up anywhere from, 5 to 10 of those people because, I'm pretty good at what I do. And it's not like I'm reaching out randomly. I'm identifying people that are open. And if they're open, I have a pretty good close ratio because I'm pretty good at follow-ups and figuring out, the hot buttons to press to get someone on board. But I also will turn away people because it's like, I had a lady just this past couple of weeks. She's just kind of strange and kind of like saying like, what are you going to give me type of thing? And I'm like, what am I going to give you? Like, I don't even know you and I'm not going to give you anything because I don't know. I don't like the way you asked. Like, and I blocked her this morning. She just sends me weird messages. Like I don't want bad volume. I don't want people like that, and there's something a little off about her, and I didn't say that to her. I wasn't rude, but I was just like, I don't think we're a good fit. And I just blocked her, and she also would respond to some of my political posts that I would share. She did not agree with my political views, and that's fine. I don't care. I like to post things that I think are funny anyway. I am more right leaning than left leaning, but I'll have good conversations with people that are on either side because I'm not really on a side. I just, I listen and I make my own objective decisions, but I think ultimately our country's in trouble. And that's a whole other conversation. You and I kind of share similar views on that. But it's one of those things where, I just think the biggest key is the simplicity of what we do with the ATM system. That's like kind of like the bedrock of what we do. But of course, I'll hop on a call with someone and it's not scripted. I can't like say, here's the script. When you get on the phone with someone, I just listen to them and I talk to them. I get to know them and I figure out, how I can support them. And for some people, Todd, I'm sure you know this better than anyone because you're like the guy when it comes to calling people, like, and you do all the same stuff I do, even though you're not actively building. Like you do all the same stuff. And it's amazing how people they forgot that this is a telephone. You can actually talk to people on the phone, not just on text message. So it's kind of funny, but I definitely think that is a factor in my high close ratio.
So what is okay, so ATM, ad tag message, if you're totally new and you're like, what is ATM? We're not talking about going to the ATM, although, probably make you go to the ATM more to take out money. But I mean, this is ATM has been running for a while. And I think there's like, what is the, I want to hear from you because I know you're like you and Nadi are like king and queen of ATMing. Like, what's the, I don't know, for lack of a better term, what's the secret to running a good ATM group in your words? Like if I was going to start one.
It is, what it reminds me of? What does it take to run a good weekly meeting? Right? Back in the day, a weekly meeting was hard because it's the same thing every week, right? So with ATM, it's not the same every week per se, but it's like the one thing I have perspective on now is I have a 9-year-old business. It's very mature. So it's very different than when it's new and exciting and it's honeymoon phase, right? But now it's different, right? It's just a lot different, but it still is the predominant way we do things because, first of all, I can see who's adding people to the groups and who's tagging people, right? You can see that in the comments. We have some videos that get, viewed thousands and thousands and thousands of times, like the opportunity video, the product videos of our hero products. Like, there's testimonials that just people are tagging in all the time. So we got our product group where there's a lot of content around the products, recipes, before and afters. We do giveaways. It's just very product centric. It's a very supportive community. And of course, we're in health and wellness. So there's a lot of like weight loss testimonials and collagen testimonials. And we have like 80 products, 30 countries. So there's people from all over the world. There's people in there brand new sharing, oh, I've been on the products 5 days and I feel amazing. And then there's people that, have been in that group for, literally 9 years, right? And they have like just thousands of people in there themselves. So it's so cool having a group where you can capture, leads, and not just capture leads and convert leads, but support people with their goals, doing like step challenges and water challenges. And anyway, all these different things that we do. And then we have promos. So our company does amazing promos, like mid-month promo, end of the month promo. So you can kind of like knock off the fence sitters, right? Like just having all those people in the group, seeing when there's promos, and people will be literally like, we have this new GLP-1 product coming out that does like what Ozempic does, and people are so freaking excited about it. So my whole team is building a VIP list. We're creating curiosity in the group. It's awesome. Then we have our recruiting group, totally different. That purpose is to tag people in the opportunity videos. Comp plan videos are in there. We do a ton of like business recognition, like when people hit ranks, people are enrolling people. We're always doing shout outs. And, so that's very business centric. And then we have our team group, and our team group, it's only for people on our team, obviously. And we're teaching them how to create curiosity, how to launch their business, what to do every day, the DMO, the ATM, the follow-up, launching them, all the things inside this group, teaching them basically how to ATM into the other groups. So that's been our system for quite some time. And there's been people over the years that have tried to reinvent it, figure out their own ways, like, oh, it's not simple enough. It's too many groups. Like they try all these different things. And, eventually they just make a simple thing more complicated. And I love boards. I love project broadcasts. I love TikTok. I mean, there are some things that I promote and I am a big fan. But dude, when you're signing up a new person, right? You're talking about some of the people that listen to your podcast that are like normal, everyday people just getting started, part-time, looking to make extra money. Those people are easily overwhelmed by all that stuff. So the more you can just keep it simple, helping them get their first 3, 4, 5 customers, help them get their first recruit. This is why I go back to what I said before with the group chats, because I'm like, look, if you can introduce me to people, I can help you make money, and you can learn while you earn. So I feel like a new person, like the challenge we have nowadays is people are just out there flailing in the wind, talking to people, saying all the wrong stuff. And they're not going to get a lot of confidence from, being embarrassed and saying weird stuff. And, the person rejects them, ignores them, ghosts them, makes fun of them. So that's why it's like, listen, you're brand new. You want to be new as long as possible. The sooner you put me in chats, the sooner you make money. Even if you put me in chats and 20 people say no, you just learned how I handled every one of those chats, so especially business, it's really
so
smart.
I want to make sure people understand what we're talking about here, because I don't want to make any assumptions. That's something I learned a long time ago. Never assume that, people know what we're talking about. So
Right.
what John is talking about, and like, okay, so, but way back in the day, and people still do this to this day, a 3-way call, like, okay, so let's say John's my sponsor. I'm on the phone with my prospect. My prospect's got questions, or I don't have the answers. I'm brand new. I'm like, hang on a second. And I put John on the phone with my prospect, and he's the expert. And then I shut my mouth and let John do his thing. So that's still a valid thing to this day. I know a lot of people still do it, but the chat, what he's referring to, just so you know, is a Facebook chat where you're going in and you're setting up, just like you would have a conversation. Like if I messaged John last night saying, here's the link, but I would actually create a group with me, John, and my prospect and whoever else I want to add in there. And I think the really coolest thing, and you already mentioned it, is not everybody has to be present right then and there. It's like, how many times have you tried to do a 3-way back in the day and your sponsor's not available, and you're like, oh man, I couldn't get him, and you're gonna have to wait until you can finally get your sponsor on the phone. In this case, you can create the chat, and then people can pop in there and give their 2 cents, 5 minutes later, or 10 minutes later, the next day. And the fact that you're able to get multiple perspectives, because from my understanding is it's not just you, the prospect, and the distributor. You're like putting, Sarah and Tony and other people in there. So you've got what's the minimum number of people that you've got in there that are experts?
It's typically me and my prospect, and then I'll just grab 4 people. So it could be upline, could be downline. A lot of times it's my downline, because I want them to see me leading by example. So isn't it fun? Think about how smart that is. Right? They're like, damn, John's like literally putting me in chats, and I'm on his team, and I'm not putting him in chats. Shoot. Like John is leveraging my story and showing me what am I doing? Why am I not doing what he's doing? Right? So if anyone says, hey, my business isn't growing, it's like, I put more people in chats than you do. I ATM more people than you do, and I don't need to. So if I don't need to do it, and you do need to do it, and I'm doing it and you're not, what does that tell you? Like you're not starting conversations. You're not proactive. You're not doing the stuff you're supposed to do. And that's fine. but don't complain about your results, by the work you're not doing. So to me, the chats are money, and I can go back to a chat days, weeks, months later, years later. I can't go back to a three-way call I did an hour ago.
Yeah, that's interesting. So going back to, and I like, there's no way, and I'm just going to, in the time that we have available today, we're not going to be able to teach you exactly how does John do the ATM group. Like, and we're not going to get into that because there's way more depth to it. And I think I know this, like, as you referred to, like the weekly meeting or like doing live presentations. Like I've done businesses where we have either daily or weekly live business opportunity presentations. The only way those deals work is you have to have full buy-in from like all the other leaders that are in the team, because like, especially with an ATM group, you can't be running an ATM group solo. You got to have like 50, 100, 200, 300, 500 other reps that are in there participating, sharing their stories. Because I've been in different ATM groups, and some of them are just like, it's like, I don't even know, it's like a graveyard or something. It's like there's no activity. If I know if I went into your ATM group right now, I mean, I'd see tons of comments, all sorts of activity, and it's the people that are in there that. So you're not going to be able to do an ATM group unless you were to have like full on buy-in and people's commitment to be in there. But the thing, going back to the chat thing, like what you're doing there is not only demonstrating to the downline what they, oh my gosh, my upline's doing that, but they've also got to feel like, wow, I'm basically being recognized here. He's asking for my input. So that's going to be even more powerful in keeping that person engaged. So it's like a twofold benefit. It makes them realize like, I need to be doing more of this. And wow, I feel pretty cool that, John actually pulled me into this conversation.
Well, let's also point out the fact that like, you're not going to relate to everybody, right? So if I'm talking to a Black woman, I have Black women on my team. If I'm talking to a Canadian mom, I have Canadian moms on my team. If I'm talking to a woman in her 50s, I have women in their 50s. Talking to someone that's like, international, maybe someone Hispanic. I want to introduce some of my Hispanic, people on my team. Like, it makes sense to try to add some people to the chat that might actually relate more to your prospect than you. Like, oh, I have a school teacher. Who's a school teacher on my team? Oh, I got a nurse. Who's a nurse on my team? Like, it makes a lot of sense. I got a dude I'm talking to. Maybe I don't just add 4 women, right? Maybe I add 2 women because he's married and, now his wife can, but then I add a couple guys on the team. Like, it's smart to have that ability to connect like-minded people also, especially when it's someone that I might not necessarily relate to quite as much, but I can put them in a chat with someone that they will relate to. So yes, I mean, there's so many reasons to do these messenger chats, and it's simple. It's very easy. You don't have to schedule it. And I also don't ask for permission. I'm not like, hey, is it okay if I introduce you to other people? I'm like, no, this is the next step. I'm gonna add you to a group, tag you in a video. And then tomorrow when I follow up with you, I'm also going to throw you in a Facebook Messenger chat for 2 reasons. One, I want you to meet other amazing people on the team, hear their story, get some questions answered. But the second reason is I want you to see how the system works. All you have to do is what I'm doing with you. We create curiosity, we create conversation, we identify people that are open. We add them to the group, tag them in the video based on what they're interested in. And then we set up a chat on Facebook Messenger so they can meet other people, get their questions answered, and the duplication process begins.
Now, real quick, when you say tag them in the video, is that, and we're talking about, is your flow first to product group, or do you sometimes put somebody straight into the opportunity group? That's the first question.
If it's a business prospect, I put them in both groups because you need to know what you're selling. Okay. If they're only interested in products, and I say, hey, do you also want to take a peek at the opportunity? And they say, no, I just want to learn about the products. I only add them to the product group. And then I probably won't do a group chat. I don't really do group chats with potential customers. It's mostly with business prospects.
So you let the ATM group kind of do the thing with that. So,
well, if someone's new and they have some people they're talking to, we will absolutely do chats. But just in general, most of them are business, chats. But we'll do it. It's just not like a primary thing we do.
And the video that you're putting them into, is that a single video, and is that pinned? Do you have that as a pinned video, or do you have multiple videos?
We have a featured post in each group. So we have featured posts in the product group with all the best product videos. And then we have a featured post in the opportunity group with the best opportunity videos. And then we have a boards app that has the direct links to those videos as well, like best product videos, best opportunity videos. So they can also use the boards app to send a direct link to people, but they got to be in the group to see it. So that's always like, it's, great about it too. How many of us have people quit our team? Oh, have people quit our team. Well, if someone quits the team, well, they had years of people they added into those groups. And some of those people there, long after those people leave, you know?
Yeah, that's powerful, man.
Yeah.
So I know you've got another meeting you've got to get to, but
Yep.
let's do this. Like, you've been in the game for a long time. You and Nadia have been incredibly successful. My audience are, hungry networkers that want to win. I mean, everybody who follows me is just people that want to learn to be better at doing this business. Like, just take a minute or so and just like give some perspective on like what if you're gonna give this audience advice on ensuring that they're going to make money in network marketing, what would you say?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is understanding this business is not about becoming a millionaire. You could. It's amazing that we were able to do that, but it took us 16 years. Overnight success story, right? Uh, but to me, it's the freedom and flexibility. It's the personal development with a comp plan attached. I mean, it's so much more than just making money. Of course, the money's great, but I love the fact that like most of us are making money from home, right? You're at your house, I'm at my house. We're not rushing off to work every day. If my kids come downstairs right now, like I can see them and hang out with them. And, my son and I will go play pickleball or work out in the gym together. Or I'm throwing in batting practice in the backyard. Like I'm at home. I'm a present dad. To me, that's what it's all about, right? My daughter and I, she's man, she's crazy. She loves the scariest, most horrific horror movies, and she makes me watch them. Hey, that's the deal, man. Like my son's the opposite. He he watched Reacher the other day, the movie, not the show.
Yeah.
And he was
Yeah.
so I could barely handle it. Like he won't watch anything. So this is funny, but like I have such an amazing relationship with my kids. And I heard this billionaire say, true success is when your adult children still want to hang out with you. And I was like, damn, man, I like that, like,
Dude.
it's like so powerful. But of course he's also a billionaire. So he's like, I'm sure that's the only thing you think about, the billionaire man. But, I think that's like such a powerful mindset that, our kids grow up quick, life flies by. I mean, dude, I'm gonna be 44 in a couple months, right? I got people on my team, they're in their 70s and they're still building this business. Now, do I think they'll be millionaires? No, I don't. But I do think it's kind of cool that they're building something that they could, give to their children or grandchildren one day. I mean, Tony Zalecki's sister died. It's horrible. It's just like a really bad health thing. I think she had like a heart attack or something, just like so tragic. That was like 16, 17 months ago. Well, 15 months from her death, her organization hit elite. They did over 100,000, 15 months after her passing, but it's in her son's name, her 18-year-old son. He went elite because of the business his mom built before she passed. Like, to me, that's what this business is all about. It's building something that's a willable, sellable asset. And, we don't know how long we got, but like, I know I built something that like my kids can take over one day. And I think that's a pretty powerful thing. And that's also why it's important to be with the right company, right? Not a company that screws people like a few companies you were mentioning earlier. Anyway, I think it's the greatest industry on the planet. Obviously, it is a little crazy right now. A lot of changes, a lot's been going on. But guess what? That's the economy we're in. Anybody that's ever watched GOT, Game of Thrones, right? Winter is coming. We're in the winter season of the economy, but winter doesn't last forever. At some point, things will get back on track. Things will get better. I really believe that. And it's going to be the people that persevere during the hard times that are going to benefit the most during the easy times.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the thing you mentioned about family, dude, like I got two if you saw my boys, I don't know if you've seen pictures of my boys, like they're like 6'1" and 6'2". And you've stood next to me. I'm like 5'9". It's like these two towering giants. I'm like, they didn't get that from my side of the family, but it's cool because like, and I think this to me, family is everything. Like, it's the most important thing. My wife, my kids are the most important thing. And being successful in network marketing allows you to be home with your kids. You're not like, I remember years ago when I was living in Sammamish, and it was like a Tuesday or Wednesday morning at like 7:30. Me and my youngest kid at the time, or my oldest kid at the time, were throwing hoops. And all these cars were zipping out of the neighborhood. And he was like, Dad, where's everybody going? I'm like, dude, they're going to work. He's like, they're going to work? Like, what? They don't work at home? And I'm like, no, bro. Most people get up and they go to a job for like 8 or 10 hours and then they come home, and he goes, oh, I like what you do, and they've only known a father that's like work from home. And so I think that there's not saying that if you have a job, like you don't have a tight family unit, but you're definitely able to spend a lot more time with your kids. And how cool is that? Like, though, like when they are adults, they want to hang out. Like my oldest came up to our river property and just chilled with us all this last weekend for Carla's birthday. So
Well,
I
that's the
think,
other thing that's helpful too, right? If you have money and you invest it
yeah,
wisely, you can have things like, like a beach house or a lake house, or you can rent nice things. And then they're like, well, I want to come. They're like, yeah, of course you do.
yeah.
You want to come? You want to hang out with me, or you want to? But yeah, no. On a serious note, like that, to me, that's what it's all about: is having that freedom and flexibility, especially with social media and the internet, right? Like that was the one thing that killed me before, is that it was like I was building a business, telling people about lifestyle and freedom, but I really didn't have any because I was out doing meetings every night. So once I figured out how to build online and duplicate that success, to me, it's like, I mean, people always ask me, like, what's my normal day look like? Like, this is it. Like, I do a whole bunch of work during the day, but by the afternoon, 2, 3, 4 o'clock, I don't have anything that I have to do. Like, I'll still respond to messages here and there, but like most of the work is all done like morning, early afternoon. And after that, I can, basically do whatever I want. And I think, to me, that's the piece that most people actually want. That's what people actually get involved for. It's that freedom and flexibility piece, not the money. The money's great, don't get me wrong, but you can make money doing lots of different things. But if you're, selling your soul for a paycheck, working 100 hours a week, owning a business that owns you, or being a doctor or lawyer, like, stress work is not something that I would want. I mean, our most stressful days in network marketing are nothing compared to the stress that like an attorney or doctor deal with, or traditional business with all that overhead and responsibility. I mean, we have to put things in perspective, really.